Good morning, Stampin' Divas. Here's a short little quick tutorial to show you how we did the card and the box in class. We're using the Stampin' Up punch board. Can't talk today. We're using a 9 by 9 inch square paper from Stampin' Up. This is just some cardstock, in color cardstock. You're going to put your 9-inch square on the punch board, and we're going to start by lining it up with a 4.5-inch mark right here. And if you take the little tool that slides in right here, take the little tool out and you're going to stick it in this hole that's right here in the front of the punch board, and that just lines you up with the score line. Score, punch. We're going to move it over to the 3.5-inch mark. Stick the tool in there. Score, punch. Now we're going to just turn the paper. We don't have to use the measurements up here anymore because we're just going to line it up with our previous score lines. That way everything comes out just right. So line that up with your score line. Score, punch. Line it up with the previous score line. Score, punch. And kind of getting that rhythm of scoring and then punching, and you won't miss any punches. Score, punch. Line it up. Score, punch. I don't think I got that score line deep enough. Let's go back over there and score that one again. Sometimes on cardstock it doesn't quite. I need to do it twice. Okay, line it up with the score lines. Score, punch. Line it up. Score, and punch. Okay. And this is what you end up with. Now, what I want to do, because the box goes this way, this is top and bottom, or bottom and top, or top and bottom. I want to round those top and bottom pieces. The opposite side of the punch board has a corner rounder, so you don't have to go digging through your box to get your corner rounder out. Makes nice, beautifully rounded corners. Okay, and what I did a little bit different than all the tutorials you see out there online, I'm not real keen on having boxes that have gaping holes where they come together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these little, I'm not going to cut these little flaps completely away. I'm going to leave them on the sides. So if you take your, it's hard to cut sideways like that, I'm going to turn it over. Cut in, from this is your top or bottom, you're going to cut in, leaving these little flaps. Don't cut the little corners away. Most of the tutorials you see out there for using the punch board to make a box, they all just cut those little squares away. Well, I like to leave them there. It kind of makes for a little bit more finished box. I am going to take the flaps and I'm going to trim them a little bit at an angle just to get that little curly Q tip off that the punch board leaves, so that it's a little bit more finished. Okay, so now I have these little flaps, like this, on my sides. So I'll go ahead and fold up on my lines. And I'm just going to use some glue dots right now just to show you how to put it together. You will need something heavy duty like score pal tape to hold your box together firmly. But I'm just going to use some glue dots, which I would use even if I were using the score pal tape. I'd put these glue dots on these little flaps. It's going to be my bottom piece, like so. Do it on the outside of what's going to be my bottom. And this is going to be my bottom. And what I want to do is I've taken reached over here off my desk and picked up some stamp pads and just put a piece of paper around them to hold them together. And I'm going to use that because it's really hard to hold this box together unless you go ahead and put your cards in it. And I don't know what cards I want to put in there. So I'm going to use it to kind of hold my shape so that I can, I'm going to trim off just a little bit more of that flap because it wants to bend in. Okay, just like that. So that I get my corners nice and square. So you can pull it up. You want to make sure this is nice and square here. And I'm going to go ahead and stick my little glue dot down. Push my paper over to here. I found that I have a couple of magazines I get monthly that are that size, and I just taped a few of them together. So you can use anything. Your clear acrylic box is almost the right size. It's a little bit too thick, but it'll help a little bit if you don't have anything else handy. Okay, I don't have my glue in here right now, but I would come down 1 inch from this point, put some sticky strip there and there, and close my box up just like that. And then when I take my paper out, I would put my cards in, fold these little flaps down, put your cards in there, and then fold these little flaps down and close your lid. And all you need then is just a 1.5 inch strip of Designer Series paper wrapped around to make the belly band. Of course, you would want to embellish the box, put some Designer Series paper on it, ribbon, buttons, pearls, whatever. Put your belly band on, and it, of course, you can have it nicely decorated and everything. This little box is only 5/8 of an inch thick. It'll hold about 4 cards that are embellished with envelopes. If you've got my Designer Series, my Digital Studio cards, it'll hold about 6. It really depends on how much embellishing you put on there. If you go out onto YouTube, Frenchie has some other measurements for making different thicknesses of the boxes. She has one for making a 1 inch thick box to hold considerably more cards. So that's our nice little quick tutorial for today, just so you can see how we actually did the little flaps, because most of the tutorials out there, they cut these flaps away. So I put the sides in, tail up, top down, and you're good to go.